Hello, students. Welcome to my channel, Poetic Expression. Today, the topic of discussion is the poem Grief, which is written by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Grief by Elizabeth Barrett Browning is a 14-line poem that conforms to the pattern of a Petrarchan sonnet. So, what is Petrarchan sonnet? ये Petrarchan sonnet क्या है भाई? A Petrarchan sonnet is also known as Italian sonnet because it's named after by the Italian poet Francesco Petrarca, which is divided into two parts, octet and sestet, of course. The poem Grief has a consistent rhyming pattern of A B B A A B B A C D E C D E. And of course, to complete the Petrarchan sonnet form, the text is written in an iambic pentameter. इस पोएम को अच्छे से समझने के लिए पोएम की बैकग्राउंड और पोएट की बैकग्राउंड हिस्ट्री को जानना बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. So before going to understand the summary, it's very important to understand the background of the poem. So I am here with the background of the poem so that you can understand the poem very clearly. At the time of writing this poem, the poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning was familiar with grief. She lost her mother at the age of around 20 along with her father and siblings. Then again, within the mere month of one another in 1840, she mourned the death of two brothers, Samuel and Edward. Her brother Samuel had been sent to run his father's plantation in Jamaica, where he suffered from fever and died in February 1840. Again, her brother Edward died in a sailing accident in Torquay in July 1840. And after her brother Edward's death, she felt a sense of survivor's guilt. Actually, Elizabeth Barrett Browning was suffering from a lung issue at the time, and Edward, her brother, accompanied her to the seaside town so that she could benefit from the clean air there. But unfortunately, he died there in a sailing accident. So she felt, of course, a survivor's guilt. Then, among her many siblings, these two brothers, that is Edward and Samuel, were very close to her, and she even nicknamed them as Bro. After her brother Edward's death, Elizabeth Barrett Browning returned to the Wimpole Street in London, and then she became reclusive, barely leaving her room. Now coming to the short summary and justification of the title, the poem Grief. In this entire poem, the poet is trying to show us the real meaning of grief, what true grief actually means. So at the very beginning of the poem, the poet says that hopeless grief is always passionless, and she even compares it to the noisy outburst often associated with bereaved. The speaker says that those who are deeply affected by grief are unable to make noisy shows of their feelings, and those who are suffering from the rawest form of grief are not able to outwardly express it with tears. ग्रीफ इन द सेंस, जब हम किसी को खोते हैं तो उस खोने के दर्द में जब हम रोते हैं, जो इमोशनल हमारी फीलिंग्स आती है, उसी को ग्रीफ कहा गया है. और अकॉर्डिंग टू पोएम, ट्रू ग्रीफ उसे माना जाता है जब हम किसी के खोने से उस चीज़ को शो नहीं करते हैं. हमेशा जब हम उस चीज़ को या फिर उस दुख को हम अपने अंदर दबा के रखते हैं, उसको ट्रू ग्रीफ कहा है पोएट ने. दैट मीन्स if we grieve for something or someone we lost, we must grieve in silence. And according to the poet, true grief always resides inside our soul. And she says that if it could weep, it could of course arise and go. Now, if I say, then it seems okay when we look the poem from the poet's personal point of view. But if we look the poem generally or generalizing the poem in the general sense, I'd not agree with the title because everybody do have their own way of expressing grief. And of course, it's very different from person to person. So personally, I would not agree with the title of the poem because expressing grief is a very different manner from person to person. So that's all from today's lecture. Hope you understand. And if there is any query or any question, you can just put it over there in the comment section, and I will try to help you out with the necessary notes and PDF. Thank you.